I'd like to introduce Marjorie from Wales, who takes LDN for multiple sclerosis. Good morning, Marjorie.
Good morning.
Could you tell us when you were diagnosed with MS?
Yes, in the last day in August 2005.
And what were your symptoms at that time?
Well, I'd lost use and feeling in my feet, both my feet, but the right being the worst and a bit useless. But it was the numbness and kind of, I suppose, numbness and I suppose it was like a pins and needles feeling, but it was most unpleasant and very difficult to get around.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you then?
When I was diagnosed, I was actually 61 years of age, which I believe is quite elderly.
Yes, most people
for diagnosis. But in my 40s, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and my neurologist seems to think it was a possibility that it could have been a misdiagnosis and that it was the onset of the MS starting then. And he actually says, when I have seen him, we know that you've had it for a lot longer.
So you obviously experiencing pain as well, Marjorie?
When I was in the initial stages, I had great difficulty sleeping. In fact, I used to cry at night because as soon as I lay down, it was like the muscles went into terrible spasms and the most awful pain. All I wanted to do was get a night's sleep, and it was nigh impossible at that time.
Oh dear.
But that did improve over the time, I have to admit that, yes.
So how did you hear about LDN?
I think somebody gave me the book, the magazine, I should say. I just can't think of the name. And there was an article on yourself in it.
My Weekly, yes.
Sorry?
My Weekly, I think, was the magazine.
I know I read an article and
And were you able to get a prescription easily for LDN?
No, my neurologist wrote to my GP recommending that it was prescribed for me, but unfortunately she did actually come to see me and explain why they were unable to prescribe it for me, because at the hospital in Chester, they used to prescribe it and then they stopped because they'd done some trials and apparently it was only helping 1/3 of the patients, and it was judged that it wasn't, I suppose, wise money to spend that much money when it was only helping 1/3.
Okay, so you ended up getting a private prescription, did you?
So I had to look for alternatives, and then that's right where I came to the Trust for Help, and I get it from the chemist in Glasgow, Dixon's chemist, and speak to the doctor at the clinic, and that has worked out very well for me.
Good. When you first started, did you notice any side effects?
Not that I was aware of. No, I didn't. It's fairly soon on, I was aware of. I started on a low dose, and it's been built up to 4.5, and it was a lowish dose. But there was, right from the start, everybody's commented. I still walk with the aid of a rollator when I go out. I can't walk very much distance. I get from my bungalow to my car. I still drive. I have a hands-controlled car. But it is definitely, I pick up my right foot particularly, pick it up better, and my walking is definitely better than it had been.
So if you were to rate your quality of life before LDN on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what would you have said it would have been?
What, before I went on here?
Yes.
So 10 being the top one,
Yes.
and then well, I would say probably about 5 or 6.
Mhm. And what would you say now?
Well, I would say it's improved up to about 9, yes.
Oh, that's really good, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Very
a big... I walk, as a member of the family said, you walk more normal now, you know. I'm putting one foot in front of the other where I was dragging my right leg. I mean, I might, if I get very tired, I might drag it slightly, but I'm not dragging my leg as much as I did.
Mhm. And what would you say?
Sorry.
No, carry on.
I would also do work quite hard with physio, etc. So I am making efforts to try and keep what mobility I've got going.
Mhm. What would you say to other people who are thinking of trying LDN?
I'm sorry.
What would you say to other people about trying LDN?
Oh, recommended that. In fact, I have recommended it to someone, and she is now on it. And I don't think she's experienced quite as big a change as me, but I think she's finding there has been some improvement for her. But I think she's pleased she's gone on. But she's in a different area than myself, and she's been able to have it prescribed from her own GP.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't really think so. I was very pleased that I've gone on it and given it a try, because it definitely has made an improvement to me.
Mhm.
I'm happy that I've been given the chance, as you might say, to try it, because yes, it has been right for me.
Well, thank you very much, Marjorie, for